Welcome to Retro Review, where we take a look into gaming's past in order to give these legacy games a fresh new view. This time, we are casting our gaze upon Banjo Kazooie, a platforming game for the N64. This game was praised for its quirky characters, colorful environments, and great platforming gameplay. That being said, nostalgia colors all memories, and it's time for us to dig this game out of storage and take another look, to see if it holds up to today's standards. Once upon a time, there was a bear, a bird, and a witch, as well as a slew of other characters. In the game, you play as our dynamic duo, Banjo and Kazooie. With them, you set off on an adventure to save Banjo's younger sister, Tootie, who has been kidnapped by the evil witch, Gruntilda, who wants to steal Tootie's looks. For some reason. In truth, the plot here is paper thin, which is fine because it's the type of game that doesn't need to have a super complex story to be fun. Almost the entirety of the game takes place within Gruntilda's lair, which for some strange reason has several portals that will allow you to travel to different game worlds. Since the game is a platformer, for the most part you will be spending your time trying to collect the various trinkets that the game demands of you. The main items that you will need to gather are jigsaw puzzle pieces and musical notes. Jigsaw pieces, or jiggies for short, are needed in order to unlock more worlds for you to visit. Notes are required in order to unlock the various note doors that are scattered around Gruntilda's lair, barring your path. The balance between these two collectibles works really well together. The jigsaw pieces require that you explore an area long enough and to have completed at least a few puzzles within it, before opening up new worlds to explore, while note doors prevent you from skipping worlds as you will need to collect quite a few in order to break through them, and explore other areas of the castle. The game makes each jiggy you collect feel like an accomplishment, and once you've collected all of them in any given world, the game makes sure you know that you should feel proud of yourself. On the pair's travels, they meet multiple friends and enemies, including Bottles, a nearsighted mole who helps you learn different abilities, and Mumbo the Shaman, who can help the duo transform into various creatures with different abilities like a termite. And a pumpkin. Wow, Mumbo, you kind of suck at this. You also meet Gruntilda, Gruntilda's cuter, nicer sister who teaches you more about Gruntilda, helping you learn how to get past her dastardly magical quiz of doom. Yes, that is a thing. Eventually, you will make your way to the very top of Gruntilda's tower and knock her fat, pimply butt off of it. And the day is saved. Until the sequel, that is. The game oozes with charm that time has failed to take away, with quirky humor that is just as much for kids as it is for adults. Each world differentiates itself from one another. Even areas that have similar themes are differentiated enough to where they do not have the same feel. Gameplay-wise, it is still as enjoyable today as it was back when it originally came out, as you can generally progress through the game quick enough that each area won't overstay its welcome for too long. There are some things that can become annoying, such as Banjo's dance that he does every time he picks up a jigsaw piece. While it is cute the first time, it can become annoying since he does it every single time you pick up a jiggy. Collecting musical notes can be a pain in the original N64 version, as in order to collect all 100 notes in any given world, you have to collect them all in one go. If you leave the world or die, you have to restart and try to collect them all over again. This can be extremely tedious, especially in the later levels of the game where traveling all over the level can be extremely time-consuming. This was thankfully remedied in the later re-release of the game where you only have to pick up the notes one time and your count never resets. Also, if you didn't play the game as a child, the characters' voices will probably get on your nerves after a while. In Banjo-Tooie, 2 years have passed, and our two friends are living a peaceful life playing poker with their friends, when Gruntilda's two evil sisters bulldoze through the side of a mountain and reawaken Gruntilda from the dead. Needless to say, she isn't too pleased with the state of affairs and is eager to take revenge on those who led to her fall from grace. Now it is up to Banjo and Kazooie to once again defeat Gruntilda before she can fire a giant laser that will suck up all the life from the island that Banjo and Kazooie live on. There are many improvements that were made between Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. The first being that the game feels more like an actual world when compared to the original game. Many of the different locals that you can visit in Banjo-Tooie are interconnected, unlike in Banjo-Kazooie. You can find yourself wandering around an area only to accidentally stumble your way into a completely different zone by accident. It's actually a pretty neat feature. Many characters also won't necessarily stay in the same area if they no longer need to. For instance, in the level Witchy World, you can find Miss Boggy, who is trying to find her 3 children so that they can all go back home. After they have all been found, they show up again later at their home in Hellfire Peaks. It's just a small detail that makes the game feel like it's actually inhabited by these characters. The difficulty of the game is also ramped up when compared to the original, as you will often have to obtain abilities from later levels in the game in order to obtain Jiggies in earlier levels. This ends up being a bit of a double-edged sword, however, as you can find yourself desperately trying to figure out how to get past a certain area of the game, only to find out much later that you didn't have the correct ability to do it yet. The characters in the game are a blast to interact with. You have returning favorites like Mumbo Jumbo, who is now playable in certain areas of the game, as well as new characters like Wumba, who takes over Mumbo's old job of turning Banjo and Kazooie into various creatures. And she does a much better job of it. Mumbo turns you into a walrus. Wumba turns you into a T-Rex. Score 1 for Wumba. Like its older sibling, Banjo-Tooie has also aged extremely well, with its only major detraction being its graphics, as the game is definitely beginning to show its age. If you are a fan of platforming games and have never played the original Banjo-Kazooie games, then shame on you. They are excellent games that deserve to be recognized and played, and you owe it to yourself to make sure that you experience the tale of the bear, the bird, and the witch.